back at one of my alma maters, Purdue University. We have the legend, the exciting Coach Greg Goff.
Success is getting to that Big Ten championship, bringing a Big Ten championship back here.
Welcome back to another episode of On the Subject. I'm your host, Michael Velardo, co-founder and CEO of Subject, Subject.com, Subject.ai. You know where to find us. And today we have an incredibly special guest. And this is a very emotional one for me. We're back at one of my alma maters. We're at Purdue University. Boiler up, hammer down, with an incredibly special coach. This coach has over 600 career wins, over 60 MLB draft picks, and has led Purdue to back-to-back 30-plus win seasons for the first time since 2010 to 2012. We have the legend, the exciting Coach Greg Goff. Thank you for joining us today.
Man, it's great to be here, Mike. You got me fired up, man. I'm ready to go out and play today.
We're ready to rock. Yeah, hey, I might have some eligibility left, so if you could let me come back. I mean, this is what a dream to be here. Beautiful stadium, beautiful environment. What brought you to Purdue Baseball, and what makes it so special to you?
Just the opportunity to come back, working for Coach Wazakowski. Him and I worked together a long time ago, and when he offered me this opportunity to come back here, once I came, kind of like you guys today, once I came back and saw the great things that were going on, I told my wife, I was like, this is where we want to go. And so we were fortunate enough to take the job with him. And then, once he got an opportunity to leave, and they offered me the job here, it was a great marriage, and we're glad to be here.
So this is your 10th season with Purdue, correct?
I think so.
Because 2017 was the first, and now 2026, so 10 seasons. That type of loyalty and commitment in college sports is very rare these days. Talk about the continuity you provided for the program and why you really are so committed to building a Purdue legacy.
Well, as my career, started off here, just having an opportunity to be around Coach Waz and the staff, and then have a chance to really grow and learn about the administration here, Mike. I mean, I just can't say enough about the support. And then when he left and took another job and they came to me, just knowing that the players and the opportunity to continue what he had started was really, really important for me. They had been there for me, at a tough time in my life. And so I just felt just a lot of loyalty to them and really wanted to get this program continuing where he started it.
Yeah, and you've done an incredible job. And again, this is one of the best facilities in the entire country. Anyone who comes to West Lafayette, Indiana, make sure you stop by the Purdue Baseball facility, Alexander Field. It's absolutely exceptional. Yes. What do you want the Purdue Baseball identity to be? What is your goal?
My goal for Purdue Baseball is to be a top 25 program. We want to be at the top of the Big Ten. We want to be where people talk about our program with the elite programs. And I really believe like we're on that course to do that. I just feel like with the facilities and the school and the support that we have here, it's just unbelievable. And so that's the reason why we've stayed. We've had a few opportunities to leave and just feel like this is where we're supposed to be. And I feel like this is where my heart is, and I really want to get this program to a place it's never been before.
Well, we're really proud of the program and what you've done, Coach, so thank you for being here. And so let's take a zoom out. And so from your perspective, what's changed the most at Purdue Baseball over the last 10 years?
I think probably anything, the conference itself.
Yeah, well said. Big Ten's a little different now. It's not just 10 teams.
You're not just getting on a bus and traveling around anymore. You're getting on planes and you're going, in different time zones. I think that's probably the biggest change since I have been here to now is that, you have the West Coast teams, and it's really made the Big Ten, to me, very prevalent in college baseball. I think we're in the top with the SEC and the Big 12 and the ACC now with those guys that now joined. And so I think now when we only talk about Purdue Baseball, now we can talk about it nationally. We recruit nationally now because the conference goes so far.
Yeah, I saw you have quite a bit of talent even from the West Coast, California. Oh, yeah. Talk about how do you recruit so great nationally? Like, what has brought you so many great players throughout the country?
I think, for me, just being at all the different programs I've been very fortunate, Mike, to meet a lot of people, invest in a lot of relationships. And so, I've been doing this for 33 years. This is my 33rd year of coaching. So just over that time, I think, we treated people the right way. And I think just that relationship, they know what kind of players we're looking for. And so when they have good players, they call us, and then we try to go out and see them and recruit them. And once we get them to West Lafayette, it's pretty much a done deal.
I completely agree. And like when you're in this program, you can be able to see how much things have evolved. And we were just talking before, but I'd love to bring it to the audience. Even through the facility, you've added so much more character. You have a lot of sayings and moments of gratitude around the facility. Can you talk about that investment that you made and how you made it more personal to every player that walks in these doors?
Well, again, with the recruiting wars that it is today, we wanted to be different. We spent almost $500,000 just in graphics and things of that
Wow,
nature.
that's amazing investment, yeah.
It is, and very, very thankful for our support from our, administration to be able to do that, and our alumni that's been able to allow us to do that. But I wanted people, when they walk in here, they want to know about Purdue baseball, what our goals are, what our vision is. You saw the thing in there with Omaha.
Yeah.
I wanted them to know our history and the great players that we've had, the championships that they've won. I wanted them to be able to get a full snippet of everything when they walk through our facilities, and it's been great so far.
Yeah, and so when you talk about what a player looked like at Purdue 10 years ago versus today, can you talk a little bit about the difference there? So much has changed, to your point. Now you have teams on the West Coast,
right.
NIL transfer portal. I'd imagine you probably have an, on average, older player versus 10 years ago, but please indulge the audience on what does a player look like today that comes to Purdue baseball?
Well, for me, we like to put a lot of pressure on people. So from a position player standpoint, we like athletic guys that can do some different things. I don't like to just play for, one inning. Like, I want to be able to score in multiple ways. We talk about running an offense. And so from a position player standpoint, we want guys that are athletic, that can do some things, that can run, can hit with some power. So we're looking for 3 or 4 tools in those guys, and we want to be able to develop them when they get here. And I think that's gotten away from a lot of programs, is the development part of it. And so we want to be able to see maybe that diamond in the rough that has some tools that when they come to Purdue, then we can develop them tools into something really, really special.
What type of 60-yard dash are you looking for?
Well, anything under 7 is good.
Okay, under 7, fans.
Yes, under 7 is good for sure. We got a number of guys running some 6'4s and 6'5s this past year. Yeah,
wow, 6'4"?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got a couple of guys, right there under 6'5". It's been pretty fun, to watch those guys run around the bases.
So are they, obviously you're a great recruiter and you're bringing in great talent, but talk about a little bit of the weight room and the development that goes on here, because the facilities here, again, they're a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
You're in the Big Ten. You have an incredible basketball program, one of the best in the country. How do you have these athletes compete physically in the weight room?
Well, we put a lot of emphasis on that. I feel like we got the best strength coach in the country in Tony Webb. And
awesome.
He's been with me for a number of years, worked with me a couple of different places. I think when our guys walk into the weight room, they know, man, they're on a mission, and it's not, just about lifting weights. It's about being sport specific. And Coach Webb does a great job with the baseball specific, the things we want to do. We want to be able to strengthen the core. We want to be able to increase our strength and our power. And so that's really, really, really important. I think it's a lot different here than a lot of places where, we do a lot of things individually with our guys. We separate our pitchers and our position players. And so he does a great job, puts a lot of time and effort into it. You look around, you'll see today as you walk around our players, they're physical, they're athletic, and they're tough.
I love that. And it's so important, all the student athletes out there, you have to get in the weight room at a young age. It's so important. Yes. It's not just about getting at bats, it's also about getting stronger in the weight room, because to your point, at the higher levels, you might not be hitting the ball as flush, and if you're a little stronger, you still might be able to muscle that out for a hit versus the difference of someone who has a little bit weaker of a strength build. But
no doubt.
When you talk about Purdue, someone who's unfamiliar out there, in one sentence, how would you describe the program?
I think description of our program is blue collar. We want guys that want to raise the bar here. We want guys that walk in here and get in these cages every night.
I love the cage rats.
I love
it.
I love them. When I drive home at night, I put a lot of hours in myself. When I leave here at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, I want to see people in this parking lot.
I completely agree. And okay, let's lean into that truth more.
Okay.
I think about this is one of the beauties of sports. I love your message here. We're a company on our side, and people sometimes like, the work-life balance. I was like, if you want to be the best, you got to put the work in. You got to outwork, because someone else is out there who's going to put that work in.
There's no doubt, Michael. And I think, from my background, from where I came from, playing junior college to playing at Division II level, the only way I know is hard work. And I think a lot of times, kids don't understand that concept. So we lay it out there. When we recruit them, we tell them, hey, we're blue collar. If you want to come and get better, you want to get a great degree, you want to play for a championship, and you don't want to develop into a pro player, then Purdue is the place you want to come. And those are the things that we build our program on.
Oh, I love that. And talk a little about the junior college. I also went to junior college.
Yeah.
It's awesome to share that experience.
Yes.
I think a lot of student athletes don't realize how much you could get humbled by the game, by the sport, by the school. what has the junior college grit really given you in your life as a professional and as a coach?
Well, I think it's really made me, it made me appreciate when I walk in here every day and I see these facilities. I see baseballs that are white and not brown. I mean,
yeah,
it's a different deal. I'm not eating McDonald's. Last night we're eating all kind of good stuff.
I saw the spread in there. It looks amazing.
Oh, yeah. So, but again, I think when you have to work hard and get through some of those things, some of those challenges, and when they get here, they just walk out and they just appreciate so much more. As a young kid, maybe coming in at 17, they think that it's like this everywhere.
Yeah, no.
And I tell them, hey, once you ask that guy that was at a junior college last year, sleeping 4-2 a room, and having to eat $10 a meal and things of that nature, like those are the things that I think really make our program, is that those kids really appreciate what we have here.
No, I mean, even myself, I played at Penn and graduated and then came to Purdue. And at Penn, we had 4 in a room.
Yes.
And then Purdue, it's like, wow, you get your own bed. You get to fly places. I was like, wow. And that's the power, though, of being at an incredible institution, and also the power of the Big Ten and how much money the Big Ten TV network brings and all these incredible ad sponsors. But out of the Big Ten, what makes Purdue different than the other schools?
I think more than anything, just West Lafayette, our fan base. We broke the attendance record for the last 3 years.
Oh my God, let's go! It's huge.
Let's go.
Boiler up, hammer down.
Yes, and so Micah, it's just a special place. Our fan base, our location.
Yeah, it is a great location.
It is.
Can you talk about that a little bit more? I don't think everyone realizes. For instance, I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago.
Right.
West Lafayette is closer to Chicago than University of Illinois is.
Yes,
that's People don't know that.
People don't know that. They don't know that. So. I think we're really centrally located in a college town. When you go,
everyone's about Purdue here.
It's about Purdue. Like you go down into the post office, it's Purdue. You go down to the grocery store, it's Purdue. I mean,
I love that.
That's what I love about it. And when we bring in recruits from different places, they see that, and they want They want to be a part of that. It's a huge draw for us, And then what Coach Painter's been able to do. And what Coach Odom is about to do in football. It's just a great time. As you know, in our life, man, timing's everything. And I think right now it's just a great time to be at Purdue.
I completely agree. I love it. You got me pumped up. And so for within the Purdue program, what are your non-negotiables? Like, what do you, for your players, you're like, hey, these are things you can't do.
Yep.
I want to know what you set the standard like.
Well, number one, you're going to have integrity. Like, you got to look yourself in the mirror every day. And that's important for me, Michael, to be honest with you. I think good things happen to good people.
Agreed.
And it's really important for me when we recruit these guys. We tell them, sometimes I lose some guys because I tell them, like, if you're going to come in here and you're looking for the limelight of going out and doing all these things, like, that's not the commitment we're looking for. So we want guys to want to be here. We want guys that want to develop and have a chance to go play at the next level and things of that nature. So our non-negotiables, number one, we're going to play hard. I'll take guys out. Took some guys out this week, as a matter of fact, because they didn't maybe run hard or do some things. So for me, it's about accountability, right? It's about being accountable, whether it's a starter, whether it's a guy that doesn't play. For me, I want to treat others all the same, and I think our players respect that part of it. But for me, non-negotiable, number one, we're going to show up, we're going to get after people, we're going to look the part, and we're going to play the part.
I love that. And so what does an elite player look like within your program? Like, talk about the habits and more so around the skill development.
Yeah, I think that's important. Great point you brought up. Just the habits. I talk about that all the time. I think a lot of times in today's world, with the social media aspect of things,
there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on. You can find whatever you want, right? You can validate what you want.
Yeah, your confirmation bias is a big thing these days.
Exactly. So for me, it's really important that they have their values and that they stick to it, And so that's really, really important as far as that's concerned for me.
No, I appreciate that. So we're going to do a recruiting deep dive now. We're going to go into what does it look like to be able to go out, find the players that fit your culture, and how can we continue to be able to encourage players to be able to seek out an incredible program like Purdue Baseball. And so, what's the primary way that you recruit players?
Yeah.
Travel ball, showcases, high school ball, camps, referrals. What does it look like, and what's the rough percentage of each?
For us, our camps are really important. I went through this process with my own daughters. They played college softball.
Oh, it's awesome. Let's go.
And so I went through it as a parent. And so for me, number one, we want to make communication with them. We want to get them to come to camp. We want to be able to see them at camp, let them see us at camp, show us our facilities and things like that. we have to recruit from the travel ball aspect of it. It's really, really
it's
important.
super important.
It's super important. We have to have the ability to go in. I have a freshman shortstop this year. First time since I've been here that we've had a freshman start at short.
That's amazing.
And it was because of his high school and his travel ball organizations that we knew, and so that was really important. So those relationships.
What type of travel tournaments are you going to? Like, what are the big ones for you or your staff?
Yeah, we're so fortunate to have Grand Park right down here in Indy.
Yeah, it's a huge facility and great turf.
It's great, and so what happens is a lot of times these kids will come in and play, so we'll try to either get them on the front end as they're driving in or the back end.
Yep.
And so it's really,
That's
cool
so nice,
for us to do that. So we spend a lot of time in the summer down there. We also spend a lot of time in Georgia.
Yeah, the PBR and Perfect Game, those are big tournaments, yeah.
So, Coach Serrato and Coach Brenneman and Coach Newman do a really good job with the recruiting aspect of it. And so, we've been very fortunate to sign some really highly talented high school kids.
Yeah, that's huge. That's super impressive. And so, when we try to get a hold of you, if I'm a player, I want to get on Coach Goff's radar.
Yep.
What works? Like, how many emails are you getting a day? I'm sure it's a lot. Like, is it the subject line that's important, or
Yes.
How do I get on your radar if I'm cold emailing you?
Well, I think that's big, and I spent a lot of time at our camps with the parents and the players in the locker room, trying to answer these types of questions. And I think the biggest thing for me, I'll probably have 15 to 20 emails a day.
Wow,
Okay?
that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. The ones that have "Dear Coach," I don't even look at.
No, yeah.
There's
good advice right here. Listen up.
I'm just telling, "Dear Coach,"
No.
I'm clicking it right to the trash.
Yeah, because they didn't personalize it. It's clearly copy and paste.
They're copy and
yeah,
pasting.
Yeah,
do they really want to come to Purdue?
And probably send it to over 100 coaches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So number one, if there's people out there, they need to make it personable.
Yep.
As soon as I see "Dear Coach Goff," I've seen that you had a great season so far. You guys are going to this place. I'm in.
Yep.
Because they did their research.
Yep.
Okay. And I read through every one of those, and we respond to every one of those emails that we get. And I think that's the most important thing with people in the recruiting phase today, is getting them to email personally, and then also getting their summer or high school coach to reach out to us. To me,
coaches, that's a good advice there. Coach, reach out.
Yes, I am probably one of the few that still call high school coaches.
Okay, why do you do that?
Well, because they know them.
They do, yeah.
The travel ball coaches,
yeah.
the travel ball coaches, they're paid, right?
Yeah.
They're paid, and so they're going to paint a picture. And they only see those guys on the weekends, right? The high school coach, they see them for 3 and 4 years.
Yeah, in the class too.
And in the classroom.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's very important for me, all the kids that we recruit, that we call the high school coach.
That's very cool. I love that. That's a great diligence there. I don't know how active you are on social. The question would be.
Not very active.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Not very active.
It's more of the polite way to say it.
Yeah, not very active.
So I would imagine you would prefer email to DM.
Right.
For you.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't have any social media accounts. Sorry about
that. No judgment.
I got 4 daughters and a wife. They keep me updated all I want to, and all these players. It's so funny when I'll say something to our players, and they go, "How'd you know that, Coach?" Hey, man, I know everything around here. You just don't know that. So, for me, it's direct emails.
I love that.
To us.
Okay, direct email. Do you prefer stats or video?
I think video is really important.
Yeah. What does a good video look like?
For me, I want to see them swing. I want to see live.
So
coverage.
game tape,
Yes.
ideally.
I want to see from behind home plate.
Okay.
I want to be able to see where the ball is going. I want to see how they run the bases. I want to see how they interact with their teammates. I want to be able to see how they get on and off the field. So really, videos and things like that. I spend a lot of time, Michael, to be honest with you, watching videos and things of that nature.
I love it. Any good video tools out there you've seen that has impressed you?
I really, there's so much technology now.
Yeah,
it's
there
just
is a lot.
amazing, but I really like, when they run home to first, they have the
time
on it.
yeah.
They have the velocities on the pit. You can get pretty creative if you want to, and I think it's really important if people are investing, in their college careers, and then you put some money into it.
100%. It's a bet on yourself. And,
Yes, bet on yourself.
The way that I look at it, too, with baseball, which is, such an incredible game, what
Right.
the MLB's done over the last 5 years, people are really a consensus across the U.S. that it's the second most popular sport again
Right.
after football.
Yes.
Every varsity team across the country has 20, 25 players. So
Right.
if you want to stand out, to come to a Division I program, I think it's like 1% of high school baseball players, and they come to a Power 4 program, you're talking about probably around 0.2, 0.3%.
Correct.
So you got to really stand out and invest. So let's talk about that, position players versus pitchers. So from a position player standpoint, what do you look for? Like, what makes a good position player?
You know, for me, again, I always ask our coaches, like, how athletic are they? You know, how much better can we get them? You know, like, what's their ceiling? Have they reached their peak, or can we make them better?
So how do you like them playing another sport?
I love it.
Okay.
I'm different now. You know,
Because some people are against it, some people for it. So yeah, you like it. Yeah.
I don't like specializing.
Yeah.
I don't.
Because they'll specialize when they're here.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, I love multi-sport kids. You know, but boy, it's getting so.
Parents are just like, hey, how can I get my kid to do, you know, baseball 365 days a year? So you were looking for the athleticism a lot with that.
Yes.
And we talk about, if you want to be more athletic, you got to be an athlete. You know, play basketball, play
right.
hockey, play
Yes.
football.
Yes.
Especially when you're younger. Make sure you're getting out there and doing all those things.
Yes.
You know, what are you talking about when you talk about a Big Ten physicality compared to, you know, like there's a big difference in Division I. A lot of people probably don't realize between a Power 4 and non-Power 4. Just how it is, everyone. You know, physically, what have you noticed the difference, especially over the last few years?
Yeah, you can tell, you know, more guys are starting to get into the weight room. More guys are starting to show up a little bit more physical than they used to be. I think it's been a big emphasis on that. But, you know, more than anything, the biggest thing that I just want to challenge people is just continue to learn the game.
Yeah.
You know, we
Gotta be
got so,
obsessed.
you know, we get so obsessed in the travel ball stuff, but there's just not a lot of teaching going on.
No, it's all games, yeah.
It's, you know, it's all games, it's all cage work, it's all this, and so, you know, I would just, you know, watch MLB games,
watch
the
the
game,
game,
watch
yeah.
college games,
Yeah.
go to games, like
Yeah.
invest in and find out what's going on. You know, we get guys that don't know how to bunt anymore.
Yeah.
They hit and run, like what is that? You know, I mean, it's crazy. The small intricacies of the game really we had to teach more.
Yeah, you got to get out and watch the game. I love that. So pitchers, when you're recruiting pitchers, like what? Okay, this is a good clip. So you got to lean into it. Like, what velocity are you looking for? What does it look like to be a Purdue baseball pitcher?
You know, for me, when I go watch pitchers, I want to see how many times they can get hitters to swing and miss.
Yeah,
I think it's
swing and miss,
really
I like
important,
that, yeah.
whether it's 86 or whether it's 92.
Yeah, are they barreling you up or not?
Are they barely? For me, the hitter tells you how good you are.
It's true. You get a lot of good instant feedback when you're pitching. Yeah.
They do, you know, they talk about all this vert and horizontal movements and all this, you know, spin rates. Hey, I want to know what that hitter looks like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it might be beautiful in this cage, but that hitter's going to let you know what that spin rate really is all about. You know,
Yeah.
so for me, watching pitchers and watching guys hit off of them and seeing what they do, how they react to their breaking ball. Is it a swing and miss breaking ball? You know, is it a flat fastball? Does it have some movement to it? And then again, for me, you know, I've been fortunate enough to develop, you know, some really good pitchers in the past. And so, you know, for me, can I look at that guy and go, man, he's at maybe 86 to 88 now. Can I get him to 90 to 92? Or can I get that 90 to 92 to 94?
That's
like,
a big
deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's hard, right? It's hard to do.
How do you do that? Is it mostly weight room? Is it working their mechanics? How have you done it in the past?
You know, getting them on a great lawn toss program,
Yeah.
getting them in a weight room, getting their core stronger is really the biggest thing. You know, the deliveries for the most part, we tinker with some. We have enough technology now with cameras and high-speed stuff that we can break that stuff down. But more the biggest things that we do is that we get them on a great throwing program. We really stretch them out from a long toss perspective. We really do a good job in the weight room. That's to me, you know, we probably average about 3 to 4 pounds per kid.
That's
on the
good.
average.
No,
I
that's
think the
really
most are
good,
probably,
yeah.
You know, 10 to 12. You know, so we are physical. Coach Webb does a great job with those guys. And, you know, what we've seen over the last few years is our velocities continue to increase as the year goes along, which is what you want.
That's insane, yeah, because it's a long season. A lot of folks say, is it still 56 games?
Oh, yeah.
56 games, and that's regular season.
Yes.
You end up playing deep in the playoffs. Most kids lose weight throughout the year because
right.
you're not able to train as much,
Yep.
and it's a lot of travel. You know, talk about how you've been able to invest in the kids. It sounds like you've done a great job of getting better nutrition.
Yes.
Like that stuff adds up, and like a lot of programs don't do that, to be clear.
Right, no doubt. And we got a great staff here. You know, Elaine with our dietitian, man, she.
Oh, you have a dietitian?
Oh, yeah.
That's very
Oh,
big time. So they have a dietitian for their players
Oh,
here.
yeah. I mean, we have every tool that you want. We spend a lot of money from our fundraising accounts to provide the different fish oils, the cherry juices.
Oh, this is amazing.
All those
Wow.
things, collagen, all the things that our players need, especially the pitchers.
You're making me hungry.
But I tell you, if you stay around here, you won't be hungry very long. We feed them all the time. But I'm serious. We've made a huge commitment on the amount of money that we spend to make sure our players can be healthy. And we have a great regimen for them. We talk about being on a championship lifestyle all the time. In college, a lot of times with their phones, they want to go to, stay up all night. Like, you got to get rest. You got to eat right.
You got to sleep.
You got to sleep, And so those are the biggest things for us. But we have all the technology, all the tools from the weight room, from all of our nutrition for these guys to be very, very healthy.
I love that. That's awesome. And so when we talk about, a couple of the intangibles, what separates a player who succeeds in the Big Ten versus who doesn't?
I think the word I'll use all the time is consistency. You'll see some guys that flash it. They may have a game or two that they're really good, but over a long period of time, they hit 220 or 230.
Yep.
Like, for me, the biggest thing is being consistent. Being consistent how you live, being consistent how you work out, being consistent in how you show up, and then being consistent in the box or on the mound. That to me, from the players, even from the guys that I coached in college to the guys that made it to the big leagues, like, they'll tell you, this game is tough. And if you let the ups get you, you're going to be in trouble because you stop working. If you let the downs get you, you're going to be in trouble. And so the biggest word for me is we want players that are consistent in their mentality and their lifestyle, and then on the field. Yeah,
and that's the beautiful piece about baseball. It teaches you a lot about life. Being consistent. It's a game of failure.
Yes.
And you cannot get too high or too low. I like that you said the same thing about the highs, because when you have a good game or two, you have to keep putting that work in.
That's right.
Because the minute you stop working, people come and catch you.
That's
so
right.
What's a red flag in a player that would take them off the board here? Like in a recruiter, whether it be like, hey.
Lack of effort.
Okay, so like dogging it to first base?
Yeah. Like, a lot of times when I go recruit, they don't even know I'm there.
Yeah, that's the best, because then you get to see the real
I get
them.
to know, when they know Coach Goff's in the
Yeah,
stands.
they start trying, They're running out to their position before the game.
They don't know I sneak in
that's
there.
The best.
I usually sit down the line.
Yeah.
I don't have any Purdue stuff on.
That's smart,
I want to know what they do when they don't think anybody's there. I want to know when they walk in.
That's your character and culture.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so that's really important for me. So we do a lot of that, and so that's probably the biggest red flag for us is the attitude and effort. I tell our players all the time, the two things that we can control: having great effort, great attitude, other stuff.
Yeah, worry about the controllables. Yes. I completely agree with that. So let's touch a minute on parents.
Okay.
How do parents impact the recruiting decisions, and what do the best parents do?
The best parents, for me, allow those guys all the resources, give them all the resources, get them into a great strength conditioning, put them in a place where they're going to play in a travel ball. Don't get caught up in the name.
Yeah, you have to play. You
got to play. Like, don't get caught up because I'm going to this organization.
Yeah.
And boy, my son.
People love that, to brag to their friends about it.
Yes,
yeah.
But in reality, this game, you got to play to get better.
You have to play.
And so for me, for the parent perspective, is love them. Try not to have a relationship based on the sport.
I agree with that.
Because if you do, you're going to have good days and bad, And so the other thing for me with the parental part of it is be in the decision-making with them. There's a lot of times the parents, they're going to make it on their own. Well, you know what? They're 18 years old. Do they really know what's best for them? Like, educate them. And then, sit down as a family and talk about it and see where they feel like is the best place to go. And pray about it and feel like that's the place you're supposed to go, then, hey, that's where you should go. But, for me, the parental part is really important, being supportive, being there for them. But as they get to college, being able to let them have their way, let them kind of grow up on their own, cut the string a little bit, and give them an opportunity to be a man.
Yeah, what mistakes do you see often with parents?
The biggest thing I think for me is just, building that relationship based on the sport. It's
like a good game, good life, bad game, bad life.
And I tell our players, like, we have family nights on Saturday when we're on the road.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, so every Saturday, when we get done with the games, they can go and spend, the evening with their families.
Oh, that's nice. That's really great for the kids.
And the first thing I tell them is, hey, don't talk about the game.
Yeah,
like,
that's hard.
It's hard to do, but separate it.
Yeah.
Right? Separate it. Like, you only get to be a mom or dad once in your life. And
it's true.
I learned this when I took my oldest daughter off to school. I don't want to get emotional about it, but like when I took her off to school, like that was it just hit me like crazy. Like, wow, you better hope you did a great job and raise them the right way, because now they're on their own. And so, just spend time with them, love them, try to have that relationship outside of the sport, and then be supportive, okay? Because it's a hard game.
It's so hard.
And it's so easy to say, as I'm driving down the road, telling my daughter, hey, you should have did. It's a lot easier driving in that car than sitting in that box, hitting that softball or baseball or throwing that pitch across the diamond.
No, I love that you have family nights. I think that's really, really genuine, and that's great for your players, mental and emotional health. I love that.
No doubt.
So when we talk about academics, what is the academic standard you need for players to be able to come to Purdue, and how hard is it for them, and what do we encourage them to do with balancing school with baseball?
I think a lot of times the misconception is, Purdue, our degree is such a widely, nationally known degree.
It's an incredible degree.
It's an incredible degree. But, Mike, I'll be honest with you, like, we have all the tools to make sure they graduate. And I tell every parent when they come and bring their kids here, I promise you, he is going to get a degree. Like, I'm going to make sure he goes to class.
How do you do that? How do you make sure they go to class?
Well, we check.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
We check. We walk around campus. They think, hey, coach. Yeah, you in class, big guy. So we ask them to sit in the first 2 rows of the class. We ask them not to wear hats. We ask them to be respectful of their professors.
That's great.
Again, like that professor, that's just like for me and my players, like that's important, that classroom. And so, we just ask them to be respectful and do all those things. But, as long as from a perspective of getting them into Purdue, as long as they're NCAA, have an 18, have the core, classes and things like that, then we can get kids into Purdue.
Let's talk about that, how special that is, though. You can get them in because they're an athlete.
Yes.
And that's the power, and use baseball as a tool.
Yes.
You might not get into Purdue if you weren't a baseball player. No harm, no foul.
Right.
What a great opportunity to get into an incredible institution.
Yes, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
And so we can get, guys that normally
and the hardest part is getting into these schools. That's what I feel like. It's once you're here, if you show up to class and have a good attitude, you will be able to make it through. But you need to use baseball as a tool to go to a school better than what you could get into without baseball.
That's right. And I think a lot of times when we recruit some maybe borderline kids with grades, they're really concerned about that. And I can just tell you, from the time I've taken over, we got 100% graduation.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Let's go.
We make sure those guys graduate, they get jobs, and it's not me, it's just our support staff.
No, but it's great that you're so supportive. I mean, it's important that we need them to be successful post graduation and in the real world.
And that's what we're doing. And we want them to be, great men of families and communities, and be able to be out there and take that Purdue degree and do some great things with, and so that's really important for us. We do have a little bit of an academic bowl with our coaches, so it's a little bit more. So each one of our coaches, we have a draft, and it's all based on academics.
Oh, it's fun.
And so
within the baseball staff.
Just within the baseball staff, we have a big draft, and so our players get drafted by our coaches, and so we meet with them once a week. So not only are they getting it from a tutor standpoint and from an academic standpoint, they're also getting it from one of the coaches on staff that they're meeting with every week, talking about their grades and so forth. And then the coach that wins the academic bowl, we give them like a $500 thing with Nike.
Oh, it's fun. Oh, I love that. See, education wins. That's amazing.
It wins, Mike.
It is. It lasts for life. So we're going to do a recruiting this or that. This will be rapid fire.
Oh, gosh.
You pick one. It's one or the other. You just pick. There's no wrong answer. You do your thing. So first, baseball metrics. Batting average or exit velocity?
Batting average.
ERA or throwing velocity?
ERA.
Stolen bases or 60-yard dash?
Stolen bases.
Slugging percentage or home runs?
Home runs.
Yeah. Okay. Now we got recruiting or development.
Okay.
Test scores or GPA?
GPA.
Showcases or tournaments?
Ooh, tournaments.
This one should be easy for you. Email or DMs?
Email, big guy. Email. You're going to find a DM.
AP classes or multi-sport athlete?
Multi-sport athlete.
Cool.
Give it to me every time.
Love it. Okay, these are insight questions. It's basically you just go off on a riff and there's no right answer. You do your thing. So one recruiting myth that needs to die.
One recruiting myth that needs to die. everybody gets full scholarships. That needs to die.
Yeah, no.
In
baseball,
world.
it's 11.7 scholarships.
It's 11.7
for 35 kids.
Now they've increased it, but most schools, there's not everybody. To some degree is on some type of a partial scholarship. For most part, there are some places.
There's some walk-ons.
Yes,
right?
and things of that nature. But that's probably the biggest myth as far as baseball is concerned, that everybody gets a full ride. That doesn't happen.
Doesn't work. You be a lefty pitcher, you get more money.
Yes, yes. There you go.
You got to know.
That's
You
right.
got to know your role. One mistake most families make.
Making emotional decisions. Take their visits. Take their visits. Like, if you have multiple schools recruiting you, it's just like buying a car, right?
Yeah.
You want to buy the first car, you want to, you want to see some different cars, and so I think that's the biggest thing for me is if you have a few coaches and things at schools that you really like, go see them.
Yeah, people get too excited. I love that. One thing athletes should start earlier.
I would say probably the academic part.
Yeah.
I think we get so caught up in the weight room and this and that, and guys, sometimes maybe falter with the grades. I think, having an academic background in high school leads you to a successful college degree.
Yeah, habits. It's all about habits.
Habits.
One thing parents should stop doing.
Man, I better watch out about this one, Mike.
No, this is good, though. It's helpful.
Great.
Yeah.
This is great. One thing parents should stop doing, I would say, stop letting them be so consumed with social media and cell phones.
Especially at a young age, it's very.
I think that's probably the one thing I think as a society as a whole is that like we'll go on a trip, we'll go on I won't even tell them where we're going in the fall. And we'll meet here, and we will go, and I will take all their cell phones.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
And at first they think, oh my God, my cell phone. But by the time we
they're
get
addicted. They keep doing the pocket reach. Yeah.
By the time we get out there, and by the time we have nothing but just being relational, that's the best thing. They have the greatest time, and they don't even realize they miss their phones. But we've gotten so consumed in society and what we're doing. I have to get on my guys a lot of times with. Hey man, don't get your phones in the dugout. Like keep your phones
I was
on
just
the
saying,
bus.
is that a problem? Yeah.
It's a problem. But they can't. It's just so easy for them. It's just so consuming. I think that's probably the biggest thing. If they can somehow regulate that aspect as a parent, I know it's hard, but I think they will have a better relationship with their kids. I think their kids will be more in tune to being more personable, and I think it'll set them up for a successful life.
What's one coaching lesson you learned the hard way?
I've learned a lot. I've been.
That's good learning.
The old saying, there's two types of people: ones that are humble and ones about to be humble.
Yeah.
I've been humbled a lot in my life, but from my perspective, I think the biggest thing is probably the relationships. The wins and losses come and go, but the relationships last a lifetime. Mike, and I think as I've gotten older, more I really value that. You know what I mean? And I just enjoy coaching, but being a part of these kids' lives. And, I love getting text messages from former players.
That's amazing.
It just really, man, it's why I do what I do.
That's beautiful. I love that. So we have now life as a Purdue baseball player.
Okay.
What does a typical day look like for the student athlete? Let's do today. Let's walk through today.
Okay.
They just had a game last night.
Yep.
What does today look like for the student athlete at Purdue?
We want them to get up and go eat breakfast. I think
Where do they do that?
if you haven't seen, you need to go see it. Our diner, our athletic dining hall.
Where is that, in Mollenkopf? Or?
It's right outside the football stadium.
Oh, great. Okay. Ross 8? Or?
Yep, right in front of Ross 8. With
beautiful. So they can go there for food at any time, basically.
They serve 3 meals a day.
Amazing.
It's all part of being an athlete. It's athletes only.
Yeah.
And it is a game changer. Yeah. Okay. So we mandatory.
Gotta go see it.
You need to go see it.
Yeah.
Mandatory breakfast in season.
Yeah.
So I want them to get up by 10 o'clock, at least by 10 o'clock. Yep. Most of our guys have classes probably around 8:30 or 9 o'clock. So they get up, go eat breakfast, they go to class. Once they go done with class, we do lift in the middle of the day. So we have 2 weightlifting groups.
Oh, nice. You have a choice. Yeah.
Yes.
That's really nice.
We give them option of when they can do that. And then once they get done with that, then we hopefully are over here in the cages hitting and getting ready.
And this is open how much a day?
4 hours a day.
24 hours, and you have a card, right?
Fingerprint.
Fingerprint. Oh, yeah. In my day as a card. But no, I love. I know I am old up. That's what's special about this place, though, is like you don't get 24/7 access to a lot of facilities.
Correct.
You could come here and get better any time of the day. If you like getting your night work in, you come in the morning, and like. I thought that was really special, is that you could come here any time of day. It's actually super peaceful too, because you could in theory practice and like bring your studying here if you want.
They do, and a lot of guys will do that. You'll see guys in here in our team room, watching TV, doing their homework and things of that nature. We have all the kitchen and all that stuff.
Yeah,
they have
that's
food
amazing.
here. I mean,
it's so nice.
It's just unbelievable what they have. But once we get done with baseball. We do ask them to have a few hours of study hall each week, depending on where you're at and GPAs and stuff like that.
Where would that be?
That's over in the academic center,
which is
the Drew Brees Academic.
Oh,
Center.
Nice! Yeah, Drew Brees. Shout out Purdue.
Right?
Yeah, he's amazing.
He is amazing.
He's going in the Hall of Fame this year.
That's right, and he's given a lot, and he's probably made the biggest difference from an academic standpoint than anything. From his center and what they've been able to do, it's absolutely amazing. If you guys get a chance to go over there and see it, it's unbelievable, the tools that they have and all the different tutors and things of that nature.
Amazing. Love to hear that. What do you think is the biggest adjustment for a freshman coming in?
Time.
Yeah, time management. Yeah.
It is the biggest adjustment. We try to do a good job, and so what we do is we bring all of our guys back in the summer now, which is different than most, okay?
Oh, we want to talk on that in a bit. Okay. This is good. Keep going, though.
So what we do is we bring them back in the summer now, okay? For the second semester of summer school, we bring majority of our team back. All freshmen are back, okay? And so
we train.
We train so they can work out with our strength and conditioning. They can come on the field. We have them on the lawn toss program. Now, the coaches can't be involved directly with them, but we set up a perimeter.
Well, I probably love that, though. It's probably so peaceful here in the summer.
And it's not so crazy.
Yeah.
Because, all the students aren't here. They get acclimated to campus. And we start getting them into our routines.
Wait, is this coming into your freshman year? Or?
This is coming in.
This is amazing. This is great.
Changer.
Do they take any classes?
They take 2 classes.
Oh, this is great. Okay, so they're pretty well acclimated by the time they start.
They have study hall.
Yep.
Okay. They have class. And then they have baseball, strength conditioning, and
they probably become pretty good friends.
And that's
yeah.
When I meet with our players at the end of the fall, they talk about those 6 weeks that they have
friendships
and the bond that they grow, and it has been a game changer since we've been doing it.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest challenges, I would say, just a college baseball training. You got summer ball commitments, weight room commitments, internship commitments. How do you help advise players, and what do they typically do?
We do have some guys that will have some internships, but now that we either get them based out of Indy or out of West Lafayette, because
that's great. So there's opportunities here in West Lafayette. That's fantastic for the players.
Great, and so they can do their internship in the morning, and then in the afternoons they can be lifting with our team.
That's fantastic. That's great to hear, because we always want to encourage players to get where they can, work experience, just because it makes them better for the next step. And that's all. And Indy is a growing business hub, and a lot of folks don't realize that. It's one of the top 15 biggest cities in the country now, and it's very accessible from West Lafayette. As is Chicago. I mean, even when I was here, I remember I was interviewing for roles post-grad in Chicago very easily on our day off.
Yeah.
Drive up to Chicago, hit 2 or 3 interviews, drive back.
Right.
Super easy. So I think that's awesome.
No doubt.
So we're nearing the end here, so we have a couple facet or questions for you. And again, this has been such a joy. What a blessing it'd be to get to go play Purdue baseball in 2026, let alone 2015 when I was here. So if you had 60 seconds to pitch a Purdue recruit, what would you say?
This is a place, if you want to come, number one, get a great degree. The degree is unbelievable here. It will set yourself up for the next 50 years, okay? So it's not just a 4-year, 5-year decision. It's a 50-year decision. So number one, hey, you want to get a great degree. Number two, you want to come here and help us win the championship. We're going to win championships here in the Big Ten and at Purdue Baseball.
Love that.
And then the third thing, if you want to come and develop and be a pro prospect, we're going to develop you. Our track record says you come here, you develop, you play, you're going to get a chance to play at the next level.
A lot of draft picks here, and we've had several players in MLB in the last decade that have done really great. Kevin Plawecki on the Mets, he had a great career, and it's really exciting to see that. And so why should someone choose Purdue over the other Big Ten programs?
For me, I think it's just different here. I think our relationships are different here. I think we invest in our players. You know, I think it's a player-led program. You know, the players have a voice here now. For us, you know, having young coaches that are enthusiastic, that are in the journey with you. You know, it's not a business here. You know, that I love that aspect of it, Michael. It's such a business world now.
It is.
If you don't play, people get cut.
Scholarship lost all the time.
All those things. We don't do that. You know, we invest in the kid and the families, and they know that they come to Purdue, then they're going to have a stable opportunity to get better and to learn, to grow. And hopefully, I tell all the parents this, when they come here, they're going to grow and develop, and when they leave here, they're going to be a better man than they came here.
That's fantastic. I'd love to hear that. And so, what type of players should not choose Purdue?
Ones that want to stay out all night and run around and get in trouble.
Okay, there we go. Don't come.
Don't come. Like, we don't want, you know. And I've lost them.
No, but it's good to be honest about what you don't want, because that helps you get the players you do want.
You know, I think it's important, you know, whether it's me as my coach or even my daughters, like, you want people to be where they want to be. When a kid comes to Purdue, I feel like they know us, they know our relationship, they know the work ethic, they know the blue collar mentality, you know, and so they know what they're getting. And so when they get here, I think they're just so much happier. They know exactly from the front end. I'm very honest with them, and I tell them exactly how it is. And so I think they appreciate that part of it.
That's amazing. Love to hear that. And so for you, what does it look like over the next 3 to 5 years at Purdue Baseball? What does success look like?
Success is getting to that Big Ten championship, you know, bringing a Big Ten championship back here, hosting a regional here.
That would be fantastic. We've done it before. What was it, in 2012?
2012.
They hosted a regional here. This has been done at Purdue. Yeah. I would tell you.
Later or whatever. So, you know, it can be done, you know, and so for me, those are the things, those are the goals. That's why I've stayed here. You know, I feel so blessed to be a part of this. I'm honored to respect you and our alumni and all the great people that have come through this program. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have a job. I wouldn't have a program that I can go out and recruit and tell about, you know. And so for me, I'm just so thankful and humbled to be a part of it.
Well, I appreciate you. And so what type of legacy do you want to leave at Purdue?
You know, I want to live a legacy of a consistency, you know, that we were consistently winning, we were consistently graduating our players, and we were consistently putting out great men.
Love that. Well, this has been an incredible conversation. We're so lucky to have Coach Goff's time. Can't recommend enough getting to play at Purdue Baseball. You know, from my experience, I met several of my best friends. We'll give a shout out to them. Hayden Grant, Car Specs. You know, this guy lived with me for years in LA. That's very special. I've had now three different teammates invest in Subject, our company here from Purdue Baseball. And I was just lucky enough to play 1 year here. Imagine if you got that 4-year experience. Can't recommend it enough. Coach Goff's building something special here. Let's bring home a Big Ten championship. Let's get it done.
Let's do it. Boiler up.
Boiler up, hammer down.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.